Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. Continuing on with Hari Bhakti Vilas in the 6th Vilas, we were talking about bathing the deity, and now we're coming to a Mahatmyam, or a glorification of the bathing of the deity. So let's look at the text. Text 113 to 114. Ata Snapana Mahatmyam. So Snapana, the word Snapana means to bathe. We can say Shnana, or we can say Snapana. Snapana is a short A, Shnana is a long A. So these both mean bathing. So Shnapana, we can say Shnapanam Samarpayami, or we can say Snanam Samarpayami, or we can even say Shnapayami. We can make it into a verb itself. Shnapayami, I bathe you, right, for the deity. So these are different words, a couple of different words for bathing. So the glories of the bathing of the deity, Mahatmya means the glories. So in the Narasimha Purana, it's mentioned, O king, by bathing Lord Keshava, who is non-different from Lord Narasimha. Okay, so we should remember that, right? He's non-different from Lord Narasimha. And this is interesting because we have this Narasimha Purana, the quote is from Narasimha Purana, which is an Upa Purana, a small Purana, but it's spoken by Narasimha, or it's about Narasimha. We can read it. Actually, there's a translation of it. If anybody wants it, they can just get in touch with me. I'll get you a translation of Narasimha Purana. Narasimha Purana. Okay, so it's interesting here that it says here that Lord Keshava, or Keshava means Krishna, or means at least Vishnu. It's the name of Vishnu, prominent name of Vishnu, first name of the Upa Vyuhas, is non-different from Lord Narasimha. So it's very normal that you have some of these quotes from different Shastras, especially a Shastra which was spoken by or about Lord Narasimha is going to equate Narasimha with other Vishnu Tattva deities like Keshava or Krishna. So, O king, by bathing Lord Keshava, who is non-different from Lord Narasimha, you can always remember that, with water, after removing faded flowers from his body, one becomes free from all sinful reactions. Such a worshipper achieves the merit of giving cows in charity, and will eternally reside in the abode of Lord Narasimhadev after traveling there in a transcendental airplane. Right? And here we have, it's very interesting here. This is very interesting. You have here in the Sanskrit, it says Narasimha Puram. Where is this Narasimha Puram? That's very interesting. Narasimha Puram seems to be the abode of Narasimha. Nice. That's nice. So whether Narasimha Puram means Vaikuntham or Golokam or whatever it means, or whether there's a concept that there's a specific part of the spiritual world for Narasimha, we don't know. Okay. Normally in other forms of Vaishnavism, they don't have this idea, but here we see it's right there in the Sanskrit. We have a place called Narasimha Puram. Nice. The other point I like in this verse here is it says, after removing the faded flowers from his body. Okay, so this is the normal thing. We have to always remember this. What does it mean? Here is the very first word of the first sloka is called nirmalyam. So a mala means a garland. So nirmalyam means a faded garland. It means a used garland. It means an old garland or old flowers. So when we go in the morning and we open up the temple or the deity room in the house, and if we've offered flowers or a flower garland or anything which can be faded or can be worn out or become stale overnight, right? Then we need to remove that first of all before we perform the worship of the Lord. And we're going to find, I think, in Hari Bhakti Vilasa it mentions there's I think a Mahatmyam for taking away the nirmalyam. The nirmalyam has to be taken away. Now, of course, we have some other instances. So what is nirmalyam? Nirmalyam would be the garland, the flower garland, which is worn by the Lord, gets faded. Any flowers that are offered at his feet, tulsi or chandan, which has been offered on the Lord's feet, that gets changed in the morning, gets wiped off. And so all of this has to be taken off before we bathe the Lord. Right? Before we bathe the Lord, before we perform the worship of the Lord. like that. So so those are the points from those verses. So continuing on, it's also stated, and we're assuming that this is still from the Narasimha Purana or Nrsimha Purana. It says, anyone who devotedly bathes Lord Narasimha. So you notice here, because it's from Nrsimha Purana, it's always talking about Narasimha, right? Narasimha, who is non-different from Keshava. Narasimha is going to be bathed. So anyone who devotedly bathes Lord Narasimha with fresh water is freed from all sins and goes to reside eternally in the abode of Lord Vishnu. Okay. So here, as it say, actually, it says here, Vishnu Loke. Vishnu Loke. So that would seem to indicate that Vishnu Loka, or the place of Lord Vishnu, is the same as this Narasimha Puram here. Okay. But we could have this concept. There could be a concept that within Vishnu Loka or Vaikuntha, within that there's some section which is specifically for the Narasimha Bhaktas. Possible from this reading. Okay, so although normally there are generally Vaishnavas there, they are not necessarily believing this, but that there's a specific area. But maybe possible. It's there. If it's there in Shastra, it can be interpreted that way. Okay, so such a worshipper achieves the merit of giving cows in charity and will eternally reside in the abode of Lord Narasimha after traveling there in a transcendental airplane. Now again, it says here the Narasimha Puram. And now in the second verse, it says here, Vishnu Lokam. Vishnu Lokam. Anyone who devotedly bathes Lord Narasimha with fresh water is freed from all sins and goes to reside eternally in the abode of Lord Vishnu. One who bathes Lord Narasimhadev with water mixed with camphor and aguru goes to the abode of Chandra. Here it says Chandraloka. Chandraloka is also Chandraloka, but it also says Vishnupuri. Vishnupuri, Puri means like a city, right? The city or the abode of Lord Vishnu. So here we have in the scope, in 4 verses, we have Narasimhapuram, Chandraloka, and Vishnupuri, and Vishnu Loka, right? So Vishnu Loka, Vishnupuri, same thing. Seems to be the same as Narasimhapuram. Chandraloka is a different place, of course. It's a heavenly planet, and Chandra means the moon. So it's considered to be the moon planet, or the place of the moon, or the place of Chandra, of the Chandra Devata. So that's a higher planet. Okay, so he goes to Chandraloka for some time, and then he goes, after he's happy residing there in Swarga, in the heavenly planets, and he later on goes to Vaikuntha. Of course, he never returns from Vaikuntha, from Vishnu Loka or Vishnu Puri in this Vishnu Puri Vaset. Vaset means he stays there. Okay, so now the other points in this verse are we have camphor and aguru. So it's saying here that specifically, and that's mentioned in the last verse, it says Kapura Aguru Varina. Varina means water with the camphor and aguru. So Kapuram is a resin which comes from a tree. Sometimes we get artificial camphor, right? The artificial camphor shouldn't be used because it's a chemical, and it's not. You shouldn't use it because later on, of course, we take the tirtha or the charanamrita and we sip it. The water that's washed the body of the Lord. So we should use only what's called in India Pachakapuram, which means the word pacha means actually unripe or green, right? But anyway, pacha, it's called Pachakapuram in India, and that's to distinguish it from the artificial camphor, because there are many times in India you find that people sell camphor tablets, which are used for lamps. So the artificial camphor can be used for lamps, but specifically when we want to put it in the samagris or the ingredients for doing worship, especially for abhishekam or for bathing the deity, we want to make sure that it's natural camphor and not artificial camphor. Even some people, they put camphor in some forms of cooking also, in the sweet rice or the kheer, right? Some people put a little bit in. Be very careful if you're going to do this. Make sure that it's, first of all, the the true natural camphor and not the artificial, right? The chemical. And also make sure that you put very, very little into it, because there's this Rajbog Arti song by Bhakti Thakur where he says, Luchi Chini Sarapuri, Ladu Rasabali, Kapura Amrita Keli. So he says Kapura Amrita Keli, Kapura Amrita Keli. So Amrita means nectar, Kapura, it's Kapura nectar, right? So that means it's the sweet rice or the kheer, right? The milk rice, the milk cooked in rice is sweetened milk cooked in rice, or what we call payasam in South India. It's got a little bit of camphor in it. Now you'll find that there are many places in India that don't have that tradition. If you make this in South India, or if you make this in Gujarat, people are going to beat you. They're going to try and stone you for putting camphor into sweet rice. But in Bengal, it's considered to be, maybe Orissa also, okay, and maybe in Vrindavan. So these, in the centers of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, this is understood. If you put a little bit of camphor in the sweet rice, it's actually quite a pleasant flavor. Okay, so enough of sweet rice. Getting back to the point, camphor can be put into the water which we bathe the deity, and that will be refreshing for the deity. It'll also give a slight taste to the Charnamrita. Now, what is aguru? Aguru is a specific perfume that comes from a wood. There's a type of precious wood in India. Of course, there are several precious woods. We know about sandalwood. Sandalwood, we get sandalwood paste, we get sandalwood oil. So similarly, we have aguru. From aguru, we get this aguru oil. So similarly to the camphor, if you're going to use aguru as a scent, you can buy any old aguru if you want to use it as a scent, or if you want to massage the deity's body or something like that. But if you actually want to put it in the water that you're bathing the deity, again, because we're sipping the water later on as tirtham or prasadam, charnamritam, the aguru should be natural aguru. So natural aguru would be quite expensive, right? So now here's another fact about aguru. Okay, aguru. There are some scents, there are some fragrances and some perfumes which are considered to be heating to the body, and some scents which are considered to be cooling to the body. So camphor, right, and what we call kas or kush in North India, in Hindi, it's called kas, right, which is a green type, which may be made from darba or another. I think Raghunath actually grows some of this herb on his farm in Florida, so he can tell us exactly the Latin botanical name for this herb. But they make a type of perfume. They also make a type of drink from this in India, and it's very cooling to the body. So this camphor and kush, right, or kush oil, right, kush oil, right, are considered to be cooling. So we should naturally use those in the summer months when we're worshiping the deity. In the winter months, when it's cold, we should not use as much camphor and as much kush. We should, in fact, use other heating oils like aguru, like henna, right? There are these other ones. Even the sandalwood is considered to be a cooling oil, and the aguru is a heating oil, with that heating scent. So these are just different. If you really want to know the list of things which are used in summer, or the list of things ingredients which are used in winter, then we can go into it sometime. But you can find out by just experimentation, and also by asking people who are very experienced in selling these different perfumes in India. They'll know the traditional use for it is either in summer or in winter. Okay, I'm not saying that you absolutely can't use camphor and aguru in summer. I mean in winter, or camphor in winter and kush in winter, and you only have to use henna and aguru in summer. but in general terms, it's normally like that. Of course, now we have, we also have temples that are air conditioned and heated and everything like that. So it's not so that we don't find that much difference in the temperature inside because we heat the house and everything like that. But in the old days, or in temples in India, right, where there's no central heating or air conditioning, summer and winter will make a big difference to the temperature in the temple, and therefore we should do things to cool the deity in summer and to heat the deity in winter. In fact, we have the chamara, which we offer, which is the fan that keeps the yak's tails fan that keeps the flies off the deity. But we also have the fan. We have different types of fans, the peacock fan, and we have other types of fans that we offer. And these fans can be used mostly in summer, right? And sometimes in certain procedures, in certain sampradayas and lineages in certain places, they won't use those fans in winter because it's too cold. I mean, if you go up in the Himalayas and you see some in the mountains, there's some very cold temple, you wouldn't expect the pujari to be offering a fan all the time. Whereas in the deep south of India, where it's hot most of the time on the Deccan Plateau and in Kerala and these places, naturally people are going to be using more of the fans all the time. So deity worship is a very personal thing. So I just thought it's very interesting here that he's mentioning some of the minute details of the water which we're going to bathe the deity in, and therefore we should think about all the ingredients that we need for doing the worship, and it's all very personalized like that. Even there are different deities that might have personal items of service which are offered to them and not offered to other deities. And specifically, like for instance, with Lord Narasimha, we're talking about Narasimha here in these verses. Narasimha likes a particular drink called panakam, and panakam is made of this gur or jaggery, which is the brown sugar, which is made of boiled sugarcane juice and solidified sugarcane juice, and it becomes it's like country sugar, and also sometimes people put other things in it to make it taste very spicy or hot, like black pepper and there can be some other ingredients. I'm not sure exactly. You can ask somebody who's more of a Narasimha Bhakta. They probably know the exact recipe for making the traditional panakam. I don't know. But normally this is offered, and Narasimha is always offered this, whereas other deities of Lord Vishnu, other Vishnu Tattva deities, may be offered other things. Krishna obviously is very fond of milk products. So there are some products of the cow, some milk products which are offered to Krishna deities. Specifically, if you look in the Vallabha Sampradaya, they have Srinati in Natadwara, and he's offered a particular type of sweet which is made of the colostrum milk, which comes from the cow just after it's given birth to the calf, which means that Srinati has got so many cows in the temple's herd, so that he has so many cows that every day one cow must be giving birth, because they have that sweet daily in Srinatwar. So there are these different types of prasadam also, which are very important in different temples. We go to Tirupati and we get the Tirupati ladus. If you go to some other temples, there are other forms of prasadam which are considered very important in those particular temples. Okay, so we're getting a little bit off the track here. Let's go to the next verse, 117. It's also stated, we're assuming this is still from Narasimha Purana, by bathing the deity in water mixed with flower petals and kusha grass. See, now it's interesting here. Before, in the previous one, we mentioned the camphor and aguru, right? Camphor is a cooling thing, aguru is a heating thing. Here again, we have now flower petals. Flower petals will be like rose petals, right? Instead of rose petals, we could also use rose water, rose essence. We have some other fragrant waters like Kera water, which is bamboo water, or orange blossom water, which you can get in some stores. which is very nice. It normally comes from Lebanon. And now we have this kusha grass. Kusha grass also, as I was saying, kas or kusha is a cooling thing. So we can put flower petals with kusha grass. These are all different samagris or different ingredients to be used in the water. So by bathing the deity in water mixed with flower petals and kusha grass, a devotee attains the abode of Lord Vishnu. And here it's again said Vishnu Lokam. Then it says here, Ratnodakena. Interesting. Right? So, Himavarina. Over. So, okay. You can have water mixed with jewels. By using water mixed with jewels, one attains the abode of Surya. Surya means the solar mandala, or the Surya planet, the solar planet, the sun, where Surya Narayana resides. And Surya Narayana is also a form of Narayana. Deya Sarasavati Mandala Madhyavarti Narayana Sarasija Sanasani Vista Keyuravan Makarakundalavan Kiriti Hari Hiramayapu Drita Sanka Chakra. This is a meditation on Surya Narayana. And Surya Narayana is worshipped by our Sandhyavandanam every day, daily, 3 times a day. We chant the Savitri Gayatri mantra, praising Surya Narayana. And also, another way to praise Surya Narayana is by doing the Surya Namaskaram. And Surya Namaskaram can be done in 2 ways. It can be done in the yogic way, where people do the different exercises of Surya Namaskaram. And also by chanting a part of the Taittiriya Aranyaka called Arunam, in which there are 138 mentions of the word, of the mantra Om Namo Narayana at different places, and people prostrate each time they say a different section. This is also very good for health. All of these things are very good for health, worshipping Surya Narayana in the sun. That is called Surya Narayana Namaskar. Okay, so, and by using water mixed with gold, right, or some other precious metal or something like that, one becomes eligible to enter the abode of Surya. Kuvera. So here we have Surya and Kuvera. So Surya, why? It's very interesting here because if we offer flower petals and kusha grass, then we go to the abode of Lord Vishnu. If we offer jewels, what is the specific thing which is important about jewels? The specific thing which is important about jewels is the luster of the jewel. How much light is reflected from the jewel. The jewel is cut in such a way that it has many facets. It has many sides, and therefore when the light comes into it, it twinkles. So it looks very nice, right? The light shining through a jewel is very nice and has different effects actually, like light going through different prisms and jewels. So because the jewel has to do with light, therefore, if one worships the Lord with jeweled water, right? If he bathes the Lord with jeweled water, he attains the abode of the God of light. The God of light is Surya. Interesting. Whereas we have gold. Gold is a very precious metal, right? So if we have, for instance, I could replace that with platinum or silver or any precious metal like that, but here it's said gold, right? One becomes eligible to enter the abode of Kuvera. Kuvera is the god of wealth, the god of money, right? So because gold is equated with money, therefore, so everything is a meditation here. When we put the jewels in the water, we think of the light, and we think of the Lord of the light. When we put the gold in the water, we think of the Lord of gold, Kuvera, like that. So it's very appropriate. It's an appropriate benediction for worshiping in the Lord in this way. Okay, so now we're going to leave Narasimha Purana. The next 2 verses, verse 118 and 119, are from Vishnu Dharmottara. And as usual, Gopal Bhatta Goswami has given us these quotes from Narasimha Purana. Now he's going to back up those statements by quoting from another shastra. So here, Vishnu Dharmottara, and it says, by offering water mixed with jewels, one gets great opulence. Jewels are very expensive, so therefore, when we offer water mixed with jewels, we get opulence, right? So the idea here is very simple. We should, when we offer something opulent to the Lord gives us back opulence, right? So we use the jewels for the Lord instead of just using them for ourselves, instead of just making jewelry and keeping it for ourselves, but we take the jewels and we use it in the worship of the Lord. Then the Lord will give us opulence. He'll give us jewels. So by offering water mixed with seeds, one attains success in life. Seeds, meaning grains, like that. So everybody eats grains, everybody to live, and therefore you can't live without eating grains, without eating food, right? Everybody, if you don't eat food, you'll die of hunger. So success in life is being a success in living. Success in living is if you get enough to eat, right? So again, instead of hoarding the seeds for ourselves and eating only for ourselves, if we offer those seeds to the Lord by putting the seeds in these specific seeds, I don't know what kind of seeds we're talking about. So it just says bijodika. This V should be a B. Bijodika. Udika means water. Bijodika means seed water. So water mixed with some auspicious seeds, like that. Then we get the seeds back in the form of food, and we have a successful life. So again, we meditate upon offering water with seeds to the Lord. It means that we will have a successful life, happy life. By offering water mixed with flowers, one becomes attractive, right? Normally, we would think if we want to impress a lady, we'll take her flowers. Ladies like flowers. Flowers are very attractive. They're all different colors. They're all different shapes. They're all different smells. They're all beautiful smells. So flowers are very, very attractive. We're going to get a whole chapter in Hari Bhakti Vilasa devoted only to flowers. The 7th chapter of Hari Bhakti Vilasa is only flowers. So when we come to that, we'll be talking about a lot of different flowers. But here it's saying flowers, by offering water mixed with flowers or flower petals, the person will become attractive. Why? Because flowers are attractive, and we naturally think of flowers. It's if you analyze like this, it's very interesting to see why these different benedictions are there. So instead of keeping all the flowers for ourselves or for our wife or our girlfriend, right? Then if we give those flowers to the Lord by using those flowers in the water, then the Lord gives us back, makes us attractive, right? So we want attraction. We want attraction, and we're using flowers for that attraction. If we use it in a material way, then the Lord won't bless us. But if we use it in a spiritual way and we offer the attractive thing to Him, we become attractive. Nice. So by offering water mixed with fruit, one becomes successful in all his endeavors. I don't know if I can exactly make a comparison here, but fruit is a very opulent thing. Fruit is opulent. It's nice. Normally, we understand if somebody's just eating bread and water, if they're just eating grains, or if they're just eating something very, very bland like that, they have a very basic diet. But when you start adding things like fruit to it, it becomes much more opulent diet. So one becomes successful in all his endeavors if he offers water mixed with fruit. Now, water mixed with fruit here, let's see. In the Sanskrit, it says two things. It says, first of all, palatoya. Palatoya. Now, palatoya can mean different things. Either you're getting the fruit and you're putting it in water, or it's the juice of the fruit. Right? It could be two things. It could be two either. Normally we have this word. We have a word in rasa. Rasa means the essence or the juice. So normally, if you say palarasa, it means fruit juice. Palatoya, it could mean fruit juice, or it could mean, it depends on how we break the compound, right? If we say that it is palasya toya, it means if it's what we call a shastita purusha or a genitive compound, then we say that the pala is the type of the water of fruit. It's the juice of the fruit, like that. For instance, we have a coconut, the most auspicious fruit. In South India, sometimes we call the coconut shripala, auspicious fruit. So it's also considered a fruit. So that the water from the coconut This is sometimes used for bathing the deity. So this could be talking about coconut water, bathing the deity in coconut water. One caveat, one problem with coconut water for bathing the deity is that sometimes that coconut water can be a little bit acidic, and if you bathe a deity, even a stone deity, if you bathe a stone deity over many hundreds of years with coconut water, it will tend to eat away at the deity. So they had this problem in Udupi with Lord Krishna in Udupi Krishna Temple, that every day they were offering 32 coconuts of coconut water during the Abhishek in the morning, and the management of the temple decided to cut down on that because they were wearing away at the stone deity because it's a little bit acidic. Anyway, but being whatever, we have fruit juice and we have also water mixed with fruit. So I think we're mostly talking about fruit juice here, but it could also be water somehow or other mixed with fruit. Sapalam. Sometimes we also see this, that we see sometimes I've seen people, they do this thing where they have the Sahasradhara. At the end of the Abhishekam, they have a plate with a lot of holes in it. And some people in Mayapur, what they do is they put some fruits inside there and they pour the water over the fruits. I haven't seen this done traditionally in India, but I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with it. It's not very traditional, but this could also be a type of fruit water. Okay, so we're talking about just water with fruit in it, or water that is made from the fruit being made into liquid. In other words, fruit juice. So it's two different things. By offering water mixed with seeds, one attains success in life. By offering water mixed with flowers, one becomes attractive. By offering water mixed with fruit, however we do that, one becomes successful in all endeavors. So that's from Vishnu Dhammottara. Continuing on, text 120. From the Higher Shirsha Pancharatra. This is another famous text, and we can get Higher Shirsha Pancharatra. I think it's translated into English, the whole thing. So if anybody wants a copy of that, it's quoted quite extensively in the chapter on installation, which is chapter 19 of Bhakti Vilasa, Higher Shirsha Pancharatra. And of course, it's a Pancharatra. It's an Agama text. The Pancharatras are one of the two Agamas for worshipping Vishnu. Agamas or Tantras are methods of worship. And there's the Pancharatra Agama and the Vaikhanasa Agama. So these Pancharatra Agamas have different samhitas. This is one of them. And this one is spoken by the Lord in the form of Hayagriva with the horse head. So it's called the Haya Shirsha. Haya means a horse and Shirsha means head. So Hayagriva, Griva means neck. So he's either called Hayagriva, horse necked, or horse headed, or Haya Shirsha, right? So here we have verse 120. One who bathes Lord Hari, who lies upon the water of the causal ocean with fresh water mixed with perfume. Sugandhina. Sugandhina means, the very first word is good smelling, good smelling oil, okay, perfume. Will reside in the abode of Brahma for as long as the rule of 14 Indras. So Indra lives for a very long time. The reign of 14 Indras would be a very long time. And he lives in the abode of Brahma, which is the Satyaloka. Satyaloka is considered the highest of the heavenly planets. Now from Garuda Purana, text 121. Devotees can achieve all objectives of life by faithfully worshipping Lord Janardana and bathing him with fresh water. But actually, I think that the translation here is deficient, because here it says Tulsi Mishra Toyena. So it's not just fresh water, but it's water, Toyena, Mishra, mixed with Tulsi. This is a nice one. This is a very nice pramana. So anybody asks you about how we should worship the deity, you just say Tulsi Mishra Toyena Snapayanti Janardana. Right? We should, they bathe. Snapayanti means they bathe, or they should bathe. They should bathe. They cause Janardana to be bathed, right? With water mixed with tulsi. Water mixed with tulsi. Pujayanti chabhavena danyaste Bhuvi manavaha. Nice. And they get all the objects of their desire given given to them as a result. Okay, so then text 122 is from Agni Purana. Agni Purana also a nice verse. Mahashnanena Govinda samyak samsnapya manavaha yam yam prartayate kamam tam tam papnotya samshayaha. Devotees who can certainly obtain the fulfillment of their desires by performing a ground abhishekam. Right? What does it say? Mahashnana. Mahashnana. And I think we were discussing different amounts of water which can be used. So obviously, when we do a daily bathing, we will bathe with a certain amount of water. When we have a festival or we have a big celebration or a grand puja, when we do what's called a Mahashnana. And in South India, we have, for instance, different numbers of pots of water, or different substances which are offered in Abhishekam, or what's called Tirumanjanam in Tamil, the bathing of the deity. And they can range from one pot up to thousands of pots. So we have thousands of pots of water. This is called a sahasra. Sahasra means 1,000. Kalasha means pots. Abhishekam. So sahasra kalasha abhishekam is very common. Okay. So as a big mahashnani. So whenever I see the word mahashnani, I think of offering thousands of pots of water. Mahashnanina, sahasra kalasha abhishekam. So devotees can obtain the fulfillment of their desires by performing the grand abhisheka, or the mahashnana, or the sahasra kalasha abhishekam of Lord Govinda in the best possible manner. So now we have in text 123, we have a discussion between Pulastya and Bhagirata, right? So these are Bhagirata is a king and Pulastya is a rishi, right? And they have a discussion where they're discussing about this subject matter in the Papa Purana. So here's the verse. It is beyond the power of imagination to estimate the piety of a person who bathes and worships Lord Hari every day. And the most important part here is sada. Kurte keshave sada. Snanam abhyachanam yastu kurte keshave sada. Sada means always. He's always, meaning every day. He's daily, he's offering, he's bathing the Lord and worshiping him. Right? Tasya punya ya sankhya nasti means his punya, or his pious credits cannot be counted. Nasti cannot be counted. So now here we have text 124 and 125 from Vishnu Damodara again, which we quoted above, right? Some more statements. So it says here, women remain under control of that person who offers ganda to Lord Hari. Okay. Sarvatra Sarvada. Okay. At all times, in all places. Here it says at all times, in all places. Right. Women remain under the control of that person who offers ganda to Lord Hari, the controller of all living entities, while bathing him at all times in all places. I would say that the women remain under control at all times in all places by a person who bathes Lord Hari with fragrant water, fragrant substances. Yeah. Okay. So by offering water mixed with flower petals, one achieves great merit, and by bathing the Lord with water mixed with deer musk, right, all of one's desires become fulfilled. Okay. So this is, first of all, there are a couple of things in this verse. One is that we're talking about here is that there's a tantric or mystical or magical different magical things that people do, mystical things that people do. One is called Vasikarna. Vasikarna means chanting a mantra or doing particular rituals, tantric rituals, to control other people. So here that's referenced here is the Vasikarna, that if we offer if we offer these scented water baths to Deva Devasya, the god of gods, meaning Lord Vishnu, right, Lord Hari, Deva Devasya, that these Nariyaha means ladies, Sarvatra Sarvada, they will all be at all times, at all places, they'll be under our control, that person's control. Okay, so that's the first thing. That is called Vasikarna, putting people under control by doing particular rituals, tantric rituals. Okay, so this is an agamic ritual. This is bathing the Lord. This Pancharatra Agama, it's an agamic ritual. So in agamas, there are what we call black tantra and white tantra. So the black tantra is doing things for bad purposes, and the white tantra is doing things for good purposes. So this may be for a good purpose, we don't know, or it may be for a bad purpose, right? But we don't know. So, but anyway, the point is, it's called Vasikarna. There are other things which are mentioned in the agamas and tantras, like if you want to kill somebody, if you want to curse somebody, if you want to, there's all these different things. So like that. So they're covered in some other texts. If anybody's really interested, we could cover some of those texts also. But normally Vaishnavas are not interested in all these things, even controlling others. We're not interested in controlling anything because we understand that nobody can control anybody else. Everybody is under the ultimate control of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and Krishna is controlling everything. So any idea of becoming a controller is completely against most Vaishnavas' ideas of most Vaishnava doctrines. So we reject that sort of thing. So the idea, but anyhow, it's a benediction which is given here just to glorify the bathing of the Lord with fragrant substances. So we shouldn't get sidetracked by the content of this this first sloka. Okay, now the second sloka also mentions. It mentions that we can use what we call mrigamada. Okay, so this is what we call here is the deer musk from a deer. Sometimes musk is also used as a tilak. In Sri Rangam Perumal, the Utsava deity has a tilak made of black musk. So this musk is a substance which comes from the musk ox or the musk deer. So it's a deer and it has a gland, and this is an animal product. There are several animal products which are used, like pulagu is also another, which comes from the civet cat, comes from a gland of the civet cat. So pulagu, this musk is, I'm forgetting offhand what the Sanskrit word for musk is, but anyway, musk is also used. So these things are used in deity worship. Even though they're animal products. Okay, so all of you vegan Vaishnavas out there who are thinking that it's just milk products and things that need to be, or honey which needs to be rejected by vegan Vaishnavas. This also would be an animal product. So we can see that Vaishnavism isn't specifically vegan, but because we use milk products, we use honey, we use other products of like the civet cat and the musk deer, like this. So that's just an interesting aside. Okay, but anything can be used in the service of the Lord, and it becomes purified by being. If it's mentioned in Shastra to be used, it could be used like that. Of course, there are other things. There are other times. There are other times when things are substituted. So we can also do a substitution if we don't want to use. If we're obsessed with the doctrine of ahimsa, and we don't want to hurt in any way or cause suffering to any other living beings, which is a very good thing, right? Then we can also substitute some other items for these things. Like for instance, in later on in the 18th chapter, or is it 18th chapter or 19th? Sorry, the 20th chapter of Hari Bhakti Vilasa, when it talks about building temples, there's also a description of Vastu Puja. And in the Vastu Puja, there are some deities, some devatas in the Vastu Puja, which are offered non-vegetarian food items. So the Goswamis mention that, and they just say that the Vaishnavas don't worship those deities with the non-vegetarian offerings. So we don't offer meat or fish or any of the things which are mentioned there in the Shastra to be offered to those deities. We'll substitute sweet rice for that. So similarly, if you want to completely avoid any suffering to other living beings, right? Animals. Then you can substitute something for this. Okay, so then text 126, continuing on, we have Sarva Osati. We're talking about again the medicinal herbs. Sarva Osati Pradanena, Bija Meda Palam Lapet. Datva Jati Pala. Jati Pala, I believe, is either allspice or nutmeg. Jati Pala. Okay. It says here nutmeg. Right. Good. By bathing the Lord with water mixed with medicinal herbs, one obtains the merit of performing a horse sacrifice. By offering the Lord nutmeg, all one's okay. So there's all one's endeavors bear fruit. Okay, so now it's going to give a list of these different herbs in the next sloka. But just to be clear on this, so a lot of times when we do a kumbha, a kalasha or a pot, and we add water to the pot, we'll add some of these medicinal herbs, and some of them are spices, which are easily available, like cloves and nutmeg. So that can be offered. Now in India, especially in Tamil Nadu, if you go to a shop, a puja shop, and you ask them for tirumanjana podi. Podi, the word podi means powder. Tirumanjana means for abhishek, so for bathing. So tirumanjana podi, right? Or it's also called astagandha. Astagandha means 8 different types of scents, and it can be made into a powder. It includes camphor and saffron and some of these cloves and nutmeg and cardamom, and there are different proportions, and they make it into a powder, and they put it into the batils or the patras, the vessels which we use for the deity worship. Okay, so continuing on, here we have a list. Here, this is going to be the pramana for all these from what's called Sarvosati. Now, Sarvosati is also mentioned in, we can note in Rupa Goswami's Krishna Janmabhisheka Titi Didi, which is the bathing of Lord Krishna on his birthday of Janmastami. So Sarvosati is a mixture that we should learn how to make if we want to perform Maha Abhishekam of the Lord, or any Abhishekam really. So it's got here Mura Mamsi Vacha Pushtam Saleyam Rajani Dvayam Shati Champakam Ushtancha Sarvosati Ganashmitaha. So when we remember all these things, we remember the definition of Sarvosati. Mura, Jata, Mamsi, Vacha, Pushta, Shailaja, turmeric, right? Turmeric, Daru Haridra. Haridra is usually the Sanskrit for turmeric, but in here it says Daru. Daru means wood, usually. Mushta, Shati, and jasmine. Jasmine is the translation of champaka. Okay. These 10 medicinal herbs are used for bathing deity, and we can look them all up, and we can get the Latin botanical names for all these things, and we can figure out how to use these different scents. Okay, so continuing on, text 128, Gandas cha agami. So Gandas cha agami. So cha just means and Gandas means different types of scents, different types of perfumes. So first of all, we had the medicinal herbs, and now we've got the perfumes, right? So the herbs are different from the perfumes, right? So these herbs are all grown, they're all woods or leaves, and the perfumes may come from different sources. So it says here in the Agamas, it's also stated, Gandas, Chandana. Gandas means scent. Chandana means sandalwood. Kapura, right, means camphor. Kalaguru, which means what? Kala aguru, black aguru, right? And a mixture. So now it's saying, this is a definition. This is the definition of ganda, even in the scriptures. Okay, so remember we have these 16 different items or services that we're offering to the Lord. One of them is ganda. So gandam samarpayami, what does that mean? It doesn't just mean, according to Hari Bhakti Vilasa, it doesn't just mean sandalwood paste. So we see this often, people say, gandam samarpayami, offer some sandalwood paste. So, and this is quite common, everybody's offering sandalwood paste when they say gandam, like that. Here, he's giving a definition from the Agama Shastra of what is ganda. Ganda, which the word ganda simply means, the word ganda doesn't mean sandalwood paste. It just simply means something which is scented, a scented thing. So ganda, according to this definition, is sandalwood paste with camphor and black aguru mixed. Camphor, aguru, and sandalwood paste all mixed together is ganda. So that is a these two verses here should be memorized there as pramanas for sarvosity and ganda. That's the definition of sarvosity and ganda from Shastra. So texts 129 and 130. Shankha Mahatmya. Now we're talking about the glories of the conch shell. So now we've come to a slightly different section here. So we've got a different Mahatmya. We finished the Mahatmya about bathing the Lord. Now, of course, in order to bathe the Lord, we need the conch shell to pour the water or to pour the liquids. So we're going to now talk about the conch shell a bit.